I recently had a realization which made me feel very old indeed, and might make long-time viewers of this channel feel the same. A couple of weeks ago marks the 10th anniversary of when I released my first video on DJcity TV, titled 3 Tips for Improving Your DJ Performance Videos. A lot has changed in the intervening decade, so on this episode of Beatsource Tech, we're going to look back on that video and see what I think of those tips today in 2025. Let's start the video up. Now, of course, I'd like to think the overall quality of my videos has improved, and obviously I'm looking a bit different, but we won't dwell on that. Hey everyone, it's Mojaxx here in the DJ City UK lab. Now, we all know as DJs that ultimately the most important thing will always be the music, but it's 2015 and the most popular way of discovering new music, especially amongst young people, is via YouTube now. So, we'll just pause there. I wasn't going to comment on the intro, just get straight to the tips. But that is worth reflecting on. I'm not entirely sure that was even correct at the time. Streaming services like Spotify did already exist in 2015, but I didn't use them, so I definitely had a blind spot. But what's undoubtedly true is that today, the primary source of music discovery, especially for the young, is social media platforms, and in particular, TikTok. So when I make videos about producing content in 2025, which I plan to do, I will definitely focus on platforms like that, not just YouTube. So the first tip is really quite straightforward, and that is buy yourself a GoPro. Now, we're not sponsored by GoPro or anything, but we use them for all our videos. So the cutting room stuff, the bedroom sessions, you'll see them in those. Everyone uses GoPros, and for a few good reasons. Okay, so that's just reflective of the way that technology has improved in the past decade. I think at that point I had an iPhone 5S, the camera in which was nobody's definition of cinematic. But the cameras in smartphones have come such a long way. This is my iPhone 16 Pro Max, which shoots gorgeous 4K video. And any decent phone from the past 3 or 4 years will do the job for you when shooting a performance video without any trouble at all. A couple of tips: always use the rear camera for the best quality, and it might be worth looking at a third-party camera app which can offer you more control over the image. I recommend the Blackmagic camera app, which is free on Android and iOS, and that lets you dial in things like exposure, white balance and focus so they don't change during your performance. If you do want a dedicated camera, then GoPro have kind of fallen off, so I'd either go for something like the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, which was my product of the year in 2024, or something even simpler like the DJI Action 5 Pro, which is even more of a set and forget camera. I'm not sponsored by DJI, by the way. I bought both of those with my own money. Most of the footage from my recent NAMM wrap-up video was shot on one of those two cameras, and I think that looks great. The second tip is not very glamorous, but it is quite important, and that is you need to try and minimize your risk of your content getting pulled from YouTube for copyright violations. Again, the landscape has changed a bit here. It seems that you can get away with a lot more copyright music on YouTube today without getting blocked, at least outside of Russia and Belarus for some reason. Last year, I uploaded a 5-hour-long live set video to my own channel, all on 45s, which contain loads of music from both major labels and independents, and I only had to trim out one track from it. My tip here is to stick all the music you plan to play in your performance into a single video file without mixing it. You can do that with the video editing software I'll talk about later. Then upload that to YouTube as an unlisted video. If a certain track gets blocked within a couple of days, you'll know you can't use it. Otherwise, you should be good to go. On other platforms, you're generally just talking about short-form content anyway, so it's less of a hassle just to reshoot. But if you know of any ways to pre-screen stuff before uploading to, say, TikTok, please do let us know in the comments below. Now, the third and probably most important tip that I can give you is to make sure you use direct audio. You're a DJ, you're showcasing your DJing skills. You can't do that with terrible on-camera audio, just can't be done. This one is evergreen. Yes, you should absolutely use direct audio. Whether that's recorded in your DJ software, on your hardware, or through another application, you have to do that to give viewers the best experience. If you can bake that audio into the video file when recording, that will save you a job afterwards. So I'd also recommend looking at something like the iRig stream interfaces from IK Multimedia, which will feed line-level audio from your DJ gear straight into your phone or even cameras like the Osmo Pocket 3. Then of course you do need to synchronize that with your video that you've recorded. Now you can use iMovie on the Mac. There are plenty of free options for Windows. Adobe Premiere Elements is great value. It's around about $100. That's great if you're doing regular videos, that kind of thing. But if you're just doing the one-off, you might well, as a DJ, have a copy of Ableton Live knocking around. I talked there about using Ableton Live to combine separately recorded video and audio together. In retrospect, I mean, that does still work, but in 2025, you'd be much better off using free video editing software like CapCut. You could even do the whole thing on your phone with that. I've switched over recently to Blackmagic's DaVinci Resolve for my editing, and the free version of that is more than capable of this task and a whole lot more. In both of those apps, it is trivial to sync up the audio and video. They can usually do it automatically, as well as then you can trim down the video and even add graphics and effects for a more professional look. And I've just done some stabs there at the start to give me a nice clean little waveform that I can use to then align perfectly with what I'm doing, and I can see exactly what's going on. Now that tip definitely holds up. Do a bunch of stabs or drum hits, that kind of thing, before you start your performance. That will enable the software, or yourself, to more easily sync up the video and audio when editing later. It's the DJ equivalent of the clapperboard they use on film sets. So yeah, overall, I am pretty happy with the advice I gave in my first DJcity TV video. Things have changed in the past 10 years though, and watching that one back has convinced me that I should absolutely revisit some of those topics I covered in the early days to bring you more up-to-date tips and tricks. In the comments, why not reflect on your journey as a DJ over the past decade? And tell us how things have changed for you. Thanks for watching this episode of Beatsource Tech. I do hope you've enjoyed this stroll down memory lane with me. And thanks for all of your views, comments, likes, and subscriptions over the years. If you aren't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you do and click that bell to make sure you don't miss any future videos. I'll see you next time.